What is up, everybody? I just wanted to get on and more for myself than anything. I've been having some rough, well, the past month and a half has been rough in the market. I think pretty much all the long bias traders are probably having a hard time. Uh, if you look on the cues right here for the daily, you can see like, well, let's look at the weekly, probably better. One, two, three. So we had one good week right there, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 weeks. So almost, what is that? About 2.5 months where the market's either been going sideways or down. It's been kind of rough to trade. There's been some shenanigans going on, which people are manipulating the market. I know people always say that's a conspiracy theory, but it kind of came to light recently with the whole situational awareness hedge fund that got margin called, and then we had some facts come out, and about half of them were true, and the other half were misleading. Basically, this guy got margin called. They pushed him out. Margin forced the margin call, and then they bought him for like 80 cents on the dollar or something like that. And then after he got bought out by Citadel, forced out basically, Citadel comes out and says they've stabilized the market and everybody can resume trading as normal. Everything's back to normal. So everybody starts buying again. And that's this week right here, I think, where we had that big green candle. And then come to find out, they said everything was back to normal, and everybody could resume trading as normal, and the bad times were over or whatever. And they just said that so that people would start buying again. They let the price come back up, and they dumped all the shares that they bought from situational awareness and pushed the market back down. So definitely some manipulation going on there. I guess it's legal. I heard that the SEC is investigating them, but I don't think anything's going to come of it. The other thing is they say they've sold 80% of their position, but they, got from situational the situational hedge fund. They say they've sold 80% of their position. I don't believe them. I think they're still trying to dump their shares on the market. I mean, at this point, I don't know why anybody would believe anything they say. You know, the other thing is, it's not in their best interest to tell the truth. Those guys are ruthless. They're trying to make money, and so they're going to lie, cheat, and steal to make their dollar, and they're going to do it at the expense of if they will let a $40 billion hedge fund get liquidated like that. You think they give a shit about a retail trader? No. So the market's definitely being manipulated right now. Now, I think that one of the things that's difficult for me right now is the fact that I've taken a couple of big losses, and they've all been earnings plays. Three big losses on earnings plays in particular that I can think of. Fabrinet, which was my biggest one. Tesla was second biggest, and then Apple was another one. So those were all earnings plays. If you take those three out of the equation, I'm at all-time highs right now. So I think when the market's doing this and there's games being played, not only do you have to be careful of who you listen to and what's going on, but you also have to be really careful about taking big losses. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to get on and talk a little bit. And, risk management is a big deal. Um, I got greedy, I guess. I was at all time highs, and um, earnings playing the earnings worked out for me a few times. And, not huge winners, though. Not huge winners. And, the upside and the downside it's more of a gamble. I probably shouldn't have even been doing it, but you have to be able to keep those big losses off. Like right now, even with having some down days and, you know, having a hard time trading where it doesn't seem like anything's going your way, if you take away those big losses, I'm sitting here at all-time highs, and even though I haven't made any progress necessarily, I haven't lost anything. So, there's something to be said for maybe not getting greedy. That was part of it. Um, Letting yourself get, listening to people and chat and on Trader TV and, all these different people that I watch and listen to. Some of them are worse than others. Trade the pool, man. If you like to trade earnings, do not listen to those guys. Um, while you're trying to trade the earnings, because they're always bullish on tech stocks, and then when they go against them, they're trading prop firms also. That's not their real money. It's prop firm money. So I don't know. Those guys got me in trouble listening to them. Trader TV is kind of the same thing, man. They will they're another prop firm. Um, the thing you gotta be careful listening to people that are pushing prop firms, because that's not their real money. They're playing with monopoly money basically, other than their entry fee. And the people that are paying them, that are sponsoring them to advertise their product, which is the prop firm, they have to trade. They have to like make trades, and they have to be excited about. They're like, oh yeah, I'm taking 1,000 shares on this one. Blah blah blah. It's not sexy to just sit there and sit on your hands and wait for good setups. So that's the other thing. When you're listening to those guys and you're trying to trade with them a little bit, they way overtrade, and it will make you overtrade as well. So you got to be careful of that. Um, this morning, whenever I started trading, I was up in the pre-market. I woke up this morning, I noticed, and this has been very common. This is what I've noticed over especially this last since the beginning of July, basically. Um, things go up in pre-market, and then when the market opens, look, I'll show you right here. This is what the market did when it opened. See this? Bam, all the way down. Now this candle, this wick right here that I've got my mouse on, that's Trump putting out a Truth Social. Look how far the market dropped. Bam, this big long wick, until people realized that it didn't really mean anything, and then it went back up to where it dropped. But that big wick right there, I guarantee you, so many people got stopped out on that, because you have a stop in place. Let's say at 708. Boom. Truth Social comes out. Market dips all the way down here, clears out. Everybody stops, and then goes back to where it was and goes up. So whole bunch of people got stopped out right there. I guarantee it. But but back to what I was saying. Like, look what the market does on the open. Look at this big sell-off. Let's go back a day and look at it. It's been happening pretty much every day. Let's go back to yesterday. Look at this. This was yesterday. Market opens, boom, big sell-off. Go back to the previous day. Look at this. Market opens, big sell-off. Boom. Go back to the day before that. Okay, this day didn't do as bad, but it was still like, that's a chop fest, and it went down. Chopped around, down. So that's not good either. Let's go the day before that. Look at this. Market opens. Boom. Big sell-off. That's what it's been lately. Every single fucking day. It's so hard to trade. This day, not as bad. Still big sell-off. Now, I know there was one day where it went up, and I think that was whenever that situational awareness guy got smoked. This day wasn't as bad. It kind of had it went up a little before it sold off, but it still sold off. Go another day before that. I know one day was good. Look at that. Big sell-off. Boom. So there hasn't been any good days. Okay, here's the only day out of all of them where it did good. Look at that. And see, like, what was it? May and June was like this. Every day you come in, you get into the market, and everything would go up. And it was like that every single day. And here lately, it's just been sell-off after sell-off after sell-off. This one wasn't as bad, but it still went down. I mean, it's just been like that every day. This one right here, boom, sell off, rallied a little, sold off. It's so hard to trade when the market's like this. It's not fun at all. This day wasn't too bad. It sold off a little bit at the beginning, but then rallied, and then kind of chopped around. So that, I don't know that would have been easy to trade either. Big sell-off. You know, it's just like that every day, and it's just getting really, really old. I don't know. Um, you know, holding your own and kind of treading water and not getting into situations where you lose your ass. You got to be on your toes so much. Nothing's easy. Everything's hard. Um, and it will turn around at some point. And I think the key to it is um, being able to manage your losses, you know, living to fight another day, and being there whenever it does turn around. You know, some people would probably say, well, why don't you just quit trading for a little while until the market turns around? Um, that probably is an option, but there's a few problems with that. One of them is that you lose your edge because listening to the news every day and being in tune with what the market's doing and kind of having your finger on the pulse of it, as well as getting the reps of trading and getting in and out of positions and things like that. I don't know that I would want to sit out too long because you would definitely get rusty. We're selling off again. Look at that. And then two, the way that price action works is you get the biggest moves back to back. So unnatural moves, like whenever something's selling off, it tends to accelerate. And the biggest down push will be the very last one. And you'll get a rebound. And sometimes that's the biggest move. Sometimes you can get pushed down for weeks, and then if you're sitting out and waiting for the market to turn around, the market turns around and it gets half of it back in 1 or 2 days, and you were sitting out and you missed it. So managing your losses, sitting on your hands when you have to, realizing whenever the market's not giving you anything, and just shutting it off. You know, and then being there, you got to keep taking the opportunities whenever they show themselves, and playing the game. It's really frustrating to me what's going on with the market, that it's in such a bad downturn. The other thing I was going to talk about is the fact that I believe that the big boys weren't invested in the AI plays. They were saying it was a bubble and blah blah blah, and pretty much, you know. And so then they're looking at it now that this thing keeps moving higher and higher, and they're looking at it going, well, we want a piece of that. So then they sabotage this poor. I think the guy's like 23, 20. I don't know. He's 26, something like that. Sabotage his hedge fund, steal all his hedges, all his equities, and then um, let the market pump up and then sell them. And so now I honestly think right now I think they're basically trying to put a damper on the tech trade so that they can suppress it enough to where they can buy it at a discount and do the same thing. I think they're going to keep doing it, pumping and dumping it. Uh, I don't see any reason why they can't. I mean, it doesn't seem like they're getting in trouble for it. Um, I could totally see them doing it again. So one of the things I think is going on right now is if you look at Micron and you look at, I don't know, there's a few of them, but what I've been noticing is these things are selling off during the day, and then they're coming back overnight. And I think what's going on, this is me being a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, but I don't know that I'm wrong. I think I'm right. These things are selling off during the day. After hours, it doesn't take very much to push a stock up. The volume's not even like a 20th of what the open market value is. It might even be less than that. So it's easier to push stocks around. So if you watch these things in overnight hours, these things are getting pushed up overnight. And some of it happens when you can't trade. Like there's a window from like 7 p.m. Central Time to 3 a.m. Where unless you're a certain type of account, you can't even trade that. And what I've noticed happening a lot is these stocks are getting sold off during the day, and then during that period where normal traders can't trade, these things get pushed up, right? So then pre-market opens, and the people that are trading pre-market, they start buying it. It pushes up a little more. So by the time the market opens, these things are pumped back up, at least some. Well, that creates FOMO, right? So then you have the regular people at market open, they're trying to buy it because they think it's going up, and these fucking hedge funds are using that to sell their positions, using that liquidity to sell their positions. I know that's what's happening. Um, I don't necessarily think it's illegal, but it is market manipulation, and I don't know that a lot of people understand exactly what's going on right there. Um, and maybe like the day traders are affected more probably than the swings or the longer. Well, definitely not the longer term traders, but the the intraday traders are abnormally affected by it, disproportionately affected by it, especially the ones that don't trade pre-market. So I've got this. I mean, what I kind of I was watching something on. I was reading it on X, and somebody did over the last like 1,000 days or something like that for Micron. If you bought at the market open and you sold at the market close, which is what a lot of people do. Let's see how to go. If you started with $1 and you invested that dollar every day, the full thing, or you invest your full account every day. By the end of 1,000 trades, you'd be down to like 20 cents. And if you had bought the stock price at the close and sold at the open, you're up like a crazy amount. It's like tons of money, like $100,000 or something. So that just goes to show you like the moves are happening after hours, and then they're creating this appearance like the stock's going up, and then letting people, and then selling into the volume at the open. So anyway, it's a long roundabout way of saying I think the market sucks right now. I do think it's going to turn around though, and Um, I think that they're pushing the prices down artificially because if you look at the numbers, their earnings, the amount of demand there is for AI. I was looking at something the other day, and there were I think it was AT&T. Now they use OpenAI, I believe, but um, they were saying like their demand from a month ago has like 10x on people using AI. So you're telling me that you're getting throttled on compute because there's not enough compute to do all the AI that we need right now, and it's exponentially going up how many people are using AI. But for some reason, the data centers and the uh, what do you call it, microchips and all the infrastructure and all that stuff is not worth anything. Uh, that doesn't even make sense to me. I mean, if you really think about it, why are these stocks going down whenever the demand's going up and they're just making more and more money? How is that a thing? Like, so it's real easy to get stubborn on stuff like that. And, that old saying of the market can be irrational longer than you can have money is kind of what's happening right now. Like a lot of this stuff that's going on feels manipulated. And I've said that a bunch of times, like when you're if you're watching a position or if you're watching an equity or whatever's going on, and you're looking at it and going, this doesn't what's happening right now, this I don't understand. If you at any time feel like you don't understand what's going on, why something's happening, you just need to close the position and get out of it, because it usually means something's going on, somebody's manipulating something, there's something going on that you're not aware of, and it's making things act weird. So that's just a tip from me. Like if you feel like something's weird and you don't understand what's going on, just get out of the position. No matter how much you want it to go up or you think it should go up, it's not worth it. Um, there's been so many times where I'm like, man, what is going on? Why is the stock going down? They have good news, good earnings, they're priced right, you know, the market's doing this or that, and they should be moving this or that way, and they're not, and just like, there's something going on. Just get out of it. So I think that's the thing too. But it's real easy to get stubborn whenever you're looking at something going, man, this should be, you know, well, like Nvidia. Why is Nvidia trading at $200 a share? I mean, I think it's at 212. What is it at? Um, it'll pop up here on the bottom here in a second. I think it's the next one. It's trading at 212. Oh, here, let me just pull it up. Look at this one. Same thing. Market open. Yeah, I mean, so look at this. These guys have all the money. It's the biggest company in the stock exchange, and they've been going sideways with no. Look at this, just sideways. They were trading at $190 this time last year. Their company has grown exponentially. They've got all this stuff going on. They're investing money everywhere. And you're telling me that they're only worth $12 more a share in a year after they've had all this crazy growth? Like, that makes no sense. All the analysts say this thing should be trading at $300 a share. And it's not. Why? Well, you tell me, man. I don't know. There's a lot of them like that. You look at, let's see. Well, let's look at FN. This one's trading at $427 a share right now. It was trading at $750 a share 3 months ago, and nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Literally, nothing has changed with these guys. If any, they're growing. Their last earnings was record earnings. They have more earnings now than they've ever had. You know, their PE is lower than it was back then, and they're going down. I think it's manipulated. I think it's all they're trying to push all this stuff down so they can accumulate shares, and then once they get them, all the shares that they want of these things, that's whenever they'll start releasing good news, and you'll hear these analysts for these big hedge funds start raising expectations on stocks. Usually the way it works is they buy it low, and then once they have it and it's in their hedge fund, then their analysts that are supposed to be a separate division. You're not supposed to coordinate, because I think that's against the law. It's against the rules for the SEC. But so you have a separate branch of your business who are the analysts, and then a separate branch over here who are managing the funds. Well, this side that manages the funds, they accumulate the funds at a low level. Once they get all the shares they want, I don't know, they send a homing pigeon or something, or meet at the bar later on that night and say, hey, go ahead and start bumping up the analyst ratings on some of these stocks. And that goes on, it just happens. They can't control all that. They're supposed to keep it separate, but you can't tell me that two sections of the same company are not talking to each other. That's ridiculous. I don't buy it for a second, but that's the kind of shit that goes on, and I think that's what's going on with a lot of these. I just think they haven't. Other people had the shares, they didn't. Now that they've realized what's going on, they're starting to accumulate their shares, and once they get enough shares accumulated, then they'll release all this stuff, and it'll start going up again. It's being throttled back intentionally. I know I sound a little bitter. It's really not me being bitter. It's just trying to recognize what's going on, and like I said, I would be at all-time highs right now if I had just managed some of these earnings plays differently. So I'm not playing earnings anymore, at least for the time being. You can look out here. I'll show you I'll show you the three that I got burned on. We'll start with Apple. Nope, that's not Apple. All right, let's look at Apple. Here's earnings right here on the 31st. So that's this day right here. Look where it was. It was at $330. They had good earnings, and it gapped down to $30 a share. It lost $30 a share in one day, and it really hasn't made it back. It's just stayed right there. Their earnings were decent. This is one that I didn't lose. It wasn't a horrible loss, but this is one where I was like, well, that's Apple. I'm just gonna hold them until they go back up. Well, look what happened. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. It finally went up a little, and now it's back down. So you got to hold this thing for 3 weeks, tying up all your capital, because I had a large position, and it never has never gap filled this right here. So it's just staying there, right? So that one wasn't too big of a loss, but it hasn't recovered. And people say, well, just hold on to it. Well, how long am I supposed to hold on to it? It's literally at the same price now than it was 3 weeks ago after earnings. So what are you talking about? I guess I could hold it till Christmas. What's another one? I lost pretty good on Tesla. Okay, here's another one. Tesla, good earnings, great news. Robots, robotaxis, all that kind of stuff. They went from 372 all the way down to $3.40, and then when they opened up the next day, they dropped another $20, $30 a share. Right? This one did come back. So on this one, I sold for a big loss, and then I watched it, and then like, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 days, 5, about a week later, it starts jumping up, and then it maybe took it like 2 weeks, and it was back up to where the gap was, and then it filled the gap. So this one would have got you back to break even if you held it. I would have had to hold it for 3 weeks, but that one did come back. So in that case, it did come back. But I sold. I took the loss, and I was like, well, I'm not going to hold it like Apple. And then it does come back. So then we come to, what was the other one? FN. This one's fairly recent. Jury's still out on what I think about this situation right here. But this one right here, I played earnings on it. This went up to, it doesn't show it right here because it was after hours. This one went up to $640 something a share. And I was in it for that move. I made that. Right? So I'm good on that. Then it dips back down to, right, probably about where this 200 EMA is, or 50. And then I bought it. It bounces back up. I could have taken the money and made some more, but I was thinking it was going to push back up. And then it flushed. And then look what's happened. It went from, well, if you count 640 down to 430, what is that? That's $210 a share that it's down. So this is one where I was like, okay, I was looking at Tesla, how Tesla rebounded, and I should have just held it. This one, I'm like, okay, well, so I take this loss, pretty big loss. I'm like, well, I'm just going to hold it. I've learned my lesson. I'm going to hold it. Drops another $20. Well, now I'm going to hold it. I'm going to hold it. Drops another $20. Drops another $10. Drops another $10. Drops another $10. Like, when's the bleeding stop? So I ended up taking like a super big loss on this one. I got margin called. I don't know if I talked about that, but it's my first margin call. They pretty much told me that I either had to sell half my position or I had to add money to my trading account. I'm like, well, I guess I'm just going to close the whole thing out and I'm glad I did because I got margin called probably about right here. It dropped another $30 a share. I don't know that I would have held on to all that, but shit. So they actually did me a favor by telling me to close the position. I'm glad I didn't add money, I guess. That's the bright side of that one. But yeah, man, like, every scenario is different. Like, so Apple didn't work if I had held it, and probably around Christmas it'll probably go up because of all the iPhones and iPads and stuff. Tesla would have worked if I had held it. I would have had to hold it for 3 weeks. And then this one, if I had just kept holding it, I'd be down another $30, $40 a share, which is a lot. I don't normally. If I take a $2, $3 loss a share, that's a big loss for me. I don't like doing that. You got 100 shares. The $2 loss is a couple $100. You're in the hole right there. This thing went down $200 a share. If you had 100 shares of that, do the math. It's $10,000 plus it was $200 a share, so it would have been a $20,000 loss to hold on to all that. I mean, I'm trying to make money, not like, and then so you're down 20 grand on one trade. To get that back, you gotta, not only do you have to make the 20 grand back, then you gotta make, the idea is to make money, not just break even. So like, it's just, so anyway, I'm glad I cut that one. I'm thinking about getting in on this one after hours today because it got a little bit of a bounce today. Just a little bit. Just a little squeaker right there. You know, kind of gapped up from yesterday, closed at 420. Went all the way up to 435 in pre-market. See, could have sold that. That's $15, $16 a share. That's good money. I might, depending on where this thing is, as long as it doesn't go way up, I might take this for this after hours and then sell. But I'm not gonna hold like what I was showing you earlier. Every single freaking day, man. As soon as the market opens, the bottom falls out, and it's happened like 6 days in a row. So I think the plan going forward, I think Micron and Fabrinet are. I don't know about Micron, but this one right here, I'm thinking about taking some shares for the overnight session and then selling them pre-market tomorrow, hopefully for a winner. And then I don't know, man. Like until I see something different happen, I'm just getting tired of getting caught in these moves at the open, man. It's just it's horrible. Here, I'll show you one I played today. What was it? Bloom Energy. This one I actually did okay on, but look at this price action. All right, we come into the open. It flushes all the way down to the 200. It's a $4 move, right? Then it goes up, almost even. Then it goes up to 217. All right, here we go. Then it flushes all the way down to 210. Then it goes all the way back up to 215. Then it goes all the way down to 211. And it's just doing this. And then it flushes way out. So anybody that was caught in this, they got flushed out right here, stopped out. Then it goes. So this is a liquidity sweep is what they call that. So the market's like doing this, right? There's a battle going on at the open. Who's going to win? The bears are in control. Then it's the bulls. Then it's the bears. Then it's the bulls. Then it's the bears. And they're just going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Bears win, right? It comes down, it sweeps all this liquidity, clears everybody's stops out, and then it runs. That's called a liquidity sweep. Gets down here, collects all your stops, all this liquidity, and then they step in and they buy it up at a discount and run it up. I mean, that's pretty classic right now. But look at that chop, though. That's hard to trade. I think I had like 3 trades in here, and I think I ended up breaking even on this one because it was just like doing this. It's like somebody took a pen and just scribbled on it. That's barcoding. And you can see the wild swings, all these wicks. That's where the price moved all the way down here and then got sucked back up. So the funny thing about this whole deal right here is if you look, this purple line is the 200. Look how much it respected it. It stopped on it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times before it finally broke down. So that's why these lines are on there, because a lot of times other people see that, and that's a line of support. Same thing up here, the 50 right here. Look how many times it bounced off that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it was just like going up, bouncing off the 50, coming down, bouncing off the 200. And it was just doing that over and over. Hard to trade, man. Hard to trade. And you had to be on your toes, too, because if you get caught in one of these flushes like this with any size, you're smoked. So, yeah. Hello? Tiny, wake up. Wake up, Tiny. I don't know why my camera went off. I have no idea how long my camera was off. Well, that sucks. I was, I mean, I guess you can still see my screen, so that's okay. All right. Well, I don't know how long my camera was off. That sucks. I have no idea. This thing goes to sleep if you say a command word, and maybe I said something that it thought was telling it to go to sleep. I really don't know. All right. I guess I'll cut it there since there's no telling how much of that it picked up anyway. But yeah, a little bit of a rant today, but basically just wanted to kind of. It was more for me to just kind of go over what happened today. It was and what's been going on in the market. So hopefully a lot of that got picked up on the camera. If it didn't, oh well, I'm not gonna redo it. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.